Hello everyone. In our last video, we have seen till Raoult's law. We discussed the solubility concept in detail, solubility of gases and liquid with the help of Henry's law, liquid solutions with the help of Raoult's law. We'll continue the concepts in this video. We'll see with Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. Then liquid solutions with addition of non-volatile solute as a solid into it. The types of solutions based on Raoult's law, that is ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. Again, in the non-ideal, positive and negative deviation showing solutions from Raoult's law. Then the concept of azeotropic mixtures. So with the completion of this, we will go to the important concept of the unit, that is colligative properties. Okay. Now we'll focus first on Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. As we have already learned, Henry's law states the solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to its partial pressure present above the surface of the liquid. So with the mathematical form of Henry's law, P is equal to Kh mole fraction, where Kh is called as Henry's law constant. You can recall from Raoult's law. So it explains for a mixture of two volatile liquids accordingly. The last states the partial vapor pressure of each component present in a solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction present in the solution, which is given by the equation form P is equal to P naught mole fraction, where P naught is the vapor pressure of the liquid in its pure form. Now, if we observe both the equations, that is from Henry's law and Raoult's law, we can assume Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law if the Henry's law constant, that is Kh value, if it becomes equal to the vapor pressure of the liquid in its pure form, that is P naught. When Kh becomes equal to P naught, we can call Raoult's law as a special case of Henry's law. So there is a simple concept and relating both the laws. Okay, with this information, we'll continue the Raoult's law. So with the help of understanding the concept of a non-volatile solid solute added to volatile liquid solvent. So that will continue with our next slide. That is vapor pressure of the solution of solid solute in a volatile liquid solvent. Now to understand this, observe the diagram placed in the slide. Uh, the diagram A explains a beaker taken with only the pure solvent. If you observe the blue color spherical shaped structures explains the molecules present on the surface of the liquid. So again here the spherical shaped structures explains the molecules of the liquid present in the vapor phase. Now this blue color one will consider as only the solvent, which is a volatile liquid. As a solvent or the volatile liquid is in its pure form, the rate of evaporation will be generally high. The vapor pressure of this liquid in its pure form will be high. So let's say that vapor pressure as P naught, where P naught is a vapor pressure of the solvent, that is a volatile solvent taken. Now to the same, we'll take another condition. Assume 1 mole of the solvent is present in the beaker. Now to that you add 1 mole of solute to it. So this green color one here which is specified explains about the solute. As a solute added in the volatile solvent is non-volatile in nature. Now in the vapor phase you cannot see any solute particles, only the volatile solvent particles are present in the vapor phase. As a result, few of the surface molecules are replaced by solute particles, non-volatile solute particles. Rate of evaporation of solvent decreases or volatile liquid decreases. Hence, after addition of non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent, vapor pressure always decreases. So let's consider this vapor pressure of the solution as P. P indicates vapor pressure of solution, that is addition of non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent. By assuming this condition, we can state the Raoult's law for any type of the solution as: for any solution, the partial vapor pressure of each volatile component in the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Now, in the example, the solute is non-volatile and the solvent is volatile. Hence, vapor pressure of the volatile component, that is a solvent component, is directly proportional to its mole fraction, that is a solvent mole fraction present in the solution. P is directly proportional to mole fraction. So the same relationship. So P is equal to mole fraction P naught, where P naught signifies the vapor pressure of the same liquid in its pure form. So P is equal to P naught mole fraction, where P naught is the vapor pressure in its pure form, can be taken as a constant. So in the general Raoult's law, what we stated earlier, we have taken uh, in a mixture of two volatile liquids. Here, if you take any type of the solution, which is a liquid solution, whatever the volatile components present in the liquid solution, we can relate to its vapor pressure and the mole fraction by using this generalized statement. So for any solution, the partial vapor pressure of each volatile component will be directly proportional to its mole fraction present in the solution. So you can remember this as a general statement of Raoult's law and a simple equation. So what is stated earlier, it is for the mixture of two volatile liquids. So with this, we'll try to classify the solutions as ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. Based on the Raoult's law information, the liquid solutions are classified into ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. What is this ideal and non-ideal solution? We'll try to understand with this slide, so in detail. Now, if any solution obeys the Raoult's law under all the conditions, that is under all concentrations, we can call such solutions as ideal solution. Ideal solutions are those which obeys the Raoult's law under all the concentrations. Whereas non-ideal solutions are those which does not obey Raoult's law under all the conditions. Which obeys Raoult's law are ideal, which does not obey Raoult's law are called as non-ideal solution. Again, in non-ideal, we have two types based on their deviation shown. If the solution shows positive deviation from the Raoult's law, so a positive deviation showing solution. The solution shows negative deviation from Raoult's law, it is negative deviation showing solutions. Now, what are the main causes for these deviations or to behave as ideal? We'll discuss now in the form of comparative statements or differentiation form. As it is taken as ideal solution, like ideal gases, no gases are ideal in nature. So it is an hypothetical concept, but there are some gases which will nearly show the ideal behavior. In the same way, no solution is perfectly ideal in nature. Those solutions which are showing a near ideal behavior are taken as example to understand the type. Now, what are the main factors which are responsible for this? We'll try to understand. So the first and important point to relate after knowing what is ideal and non-ideal solution is that the attractive forces present between the particles. Now, if we take a pure solvent, the attractive forces are between only solvent particles. We can call that as a solvent-solvent interaction. If we take only the pure solute, again here the attractive forces or intermolecular forces are the same type, it is between the solute-solute particles. Once we start mixing the solute with solvent in the process of preparing a solution, we'll see a new type of interactions are formed. The new type of intermolecular forces or interactions are formed. So which are between solute particles and the solvent particles. So that is solute solvent interaction. So solute solvent interaction is going to happen once you start mixing the both. Now based on this solute solvent interaction, how it is formed, so we can understand the types easily. In the case of ideal solution, if you take the solute-solute interaction or solvent-solvent interaction, the obtained solute solvent new interactions will also be same as that of the type. So generally solute is taken as component B, solvent is taken as component A. You can assume AB interactions are same as that of AA and BB type. That is solute solvent interaction is same as that of solute solute and solvent solvent interaction. So that is called as an ideal solution. Whereas in the case of non-ideal solution, the newly formed solute solvent interaction in the solution is not same as that of solute solute or solvent solvent interaction. Maybe a weaker between the two or stronger between the two, right? That will classify them as positive and negative deviation showing solution. Hence, solute solvent interactions may be weaker or stronger when compared with solute-solute or solvent-solvent interactions. So that is a main point we need to understand first in learning the two types. After knowing the definition, so think with attractive forces. Attractive force difference will help in understanding remaining differences. Now P total is equal to PA plus PB. Now what is this P total? The total pressure obtained after mixing the two. If you take PA, the vapor pressure of component A, PB, the vapor pressure of component B. So A as a solvent, B as a solute, you can call it as vapor pressure of solvent plus vapor pressure of solute. Now P total is after mixing the two. If you mix the two, if the attractive forces are same, then the obtained resultant P total will be same. That is P total will be equal to PA plus P. If the attractive forces are weaker or stronger, the number of particles escape into vapor phase after mixing the solute and solvent may be less or more based on this nature of forces. As total pressure will not be equal to sum of PA P. Either it may be greater or lesser when compared to the sum of the partial vapor pressures of component A and component B. So P total is equal to PA plus PB due to similar attractive force between solute and solvent in ideal solution. Whereas in non-ideal solution, P total is not equal to PA plus PB, that is greater than or lesser than the solute solvent vapor pressures because of weaker or stronger interaction seen in the solution. Next, if we observe the volume change, for example, if I take 10 ml of one solute and 10 ml of another solvent, expected volume of the resultant solution is 10 plus 10, it is 20 ml. If we take solute 10 ml, solvent 10 ml, so mixing both will generally have closer to 20 ml, 10 plus 10, 20 ml as a resultant volume of the solution. That we'll call it as delta V mix. So delta V change in the volume after mixing the solute and solvent will be equal to V2 minus V1. So final volume of the solution minus initial volume, that is solute and solvent. If the attractive forces are similar, so there is no expansion of the particular molecules there, or there is no strong attractive force, as a result there is no contraction in the volume. Since we can see the volume change as 0, that is final volume minus initial volume will be 0 for ideal solutions. That is 10 minus 10 will be 0. Not 10 minus 10, sorry, it is 20 minus 20. Initial volume, final volume if you consider. Whereas in the case of non-ideal solution, delta V mix will not be equal to 0. Either it will be greater than 0 if the attractive forces between the solute and solvent is weaker. Delta V mix will be lesser than 0 if the attractive forces are stronger. So generally weaker attractive force will make the volume to expand a little. So for example, if 10 ml and 10 ml of solute solvent, if it is mixed, just as an example, if it is 20.1 ml, it shows that so V2 is greater than V1, hence delta V will be greater than 0. If by mixing 10 ml of solute and 10 ml of solvent, the resultant volume of the solution is 19.9 ml. Now it is V2 is lesser than V1, V2 minus V1 will be a negative value, hence delta V will be lesser than 0. So hence, due to strong or weak attractive forces, volume change of the mixing will never be equal to 0, will be either greater than 0 or lesser than 0 based on their deviation. That we'll discuss in the next slide. Next, the enthalpy change of the mixing. As we know, stronger attractive forces will releases energy to the surrounding. Weaker attractive force formation will releases less energy to the surrounding. So based on that attractive force formation, we can consider the delta H mixing, that is enthalpy change after mixing the solute and solvent. Due to the similar attractive force between the solute and solvent, the enthalpy of mixing will be always 0. Whereas in the case of non-ideal solution, either due to weak attractive or strong attractive forces, delta H mixing either will be greater than 0 or lesser than 0. Next, the concept of azeotropes that we'll try to discuss in the next slides. Ideal solutions do not form azeotropic mixtures, whereas non-ideal solutions will form azeotropes. So these are constant boiling binary mixtures that we'll try to discuss in the next slide. As a difference, you can remember the point. Ideal solutions do not form azeotropes. Non-ideal solutions will form azeotropes. There are a number of examples which are showing similar ideal behavior or showing deviation. Few examples are listed here. The mixture of benzene and toluene, N-hexane and N-heptane, bromoethane or chloroethane. Similar examples, any examples you can take. So in these examples, the attractive forces between the two components will be same, so when compared in their pure form. Hence, they form nearly ideal solution. Benzene and toluene, N-hexane and N-heptane, or you can consider bromoethane, chloroethane. As in this, ethanol acetone, aniline acetone, chloroform acetone, so phenol aniline, any examples if you consider like this. So they will show either weaker attractive forces in the solution or stronger attractive forces in the solution than in their pure form. Hence, they will show deviation from ideal behavior. So these are the major differences to understand the types of solution from the Raoult's law. So which obey Raoult's law is ideal solution. The solution which does not obey Raoult's law is non-ideal solution. In ideal solution, solute solvent interaction is same, whereas in the non-ideal solution, solute solvent interaction either will be weaker or stronger when compared to solute solvent solvent interactions. P total in ideal solution will be equal to Pa plus Pb, and in non-ideal solution either will be greater or lesser than Pa plus P. Volume change after mixing will be 0, whereas in the case of non-ideal solution either it will be greater than 0 or lesser than 0. Enthalpy of mixing will be equal to 0 in ideal solution, whereas in non-ideal solution either will be greater than 0 or lesser than 0. Ideal solutions do not form azeotropic mixtures, whereas non-ideal solutions will form azeotropic mixture. So it will form minimum and maximum boiling azeotrophs. We'll discuss that in the next slides. Example, any simple examples you can remember. So it should be a mixture of two compounds. As it is a solution, the example when you are going to remember, so try to practice with the two components. If we consider the next slide, to classify the non-ideal solution again into a positive and negative deviation showing solutions. A solution which shows positive deviation from Raoult's law and a solution which shows negative deviation from Raoult's law are the two types of non-ideal solutions. In the non-ideal, so positive and negative deviations are the two subtypes. So based on their deviation type. Again, the points of differences we can recall the same. So first we can think with solute solvent interaction. So to show the positive deviation, the solute solvent interaction formed in the solution is weaker when compared to solute solvent solvent interaction. Whereas in the case of solution showing negative deviation, the solute solvent interaction will be more stronger when compared with solute and solvent solvent interaction. So in positive, the solute solvent interaction will be weaker, whereas in the case of negative deviation showing solution, the solute solvent interaction will be more stronger. Now you can think the same attractive forces to remember the next differences and to understand them. Now here P generally signifies P total. You can consider P total is greater than Pa plus Pb. That is, total pressure will be greater than Pa plus Pb sum. Because of weaker attractive forces, more number of molecules will escape into vapor phase. So hence, vapor pressure of the solution is greater when compared to Pa plus Pb. As in the case of negative deviation, due to strong attractive forces, lesser number of molecules will escape into vapor phase. So hence P total will be lesser when compared with the sum of Pa plus Pb. Similarly, volume change after mixing is greater than 0 because of weaker interactions, is lesser than 0, negative value, because of stronger interaction. Enthalpy of mixing is greater than 0, that is a positive value because of weaker interaction, whereas in the case of negative deviation, so it is lesser than 0 or negative value because of a stronger interaction seen between the solute and solvent. The last point of difference we can take with azeotrope concept. Positive deviation showing solutions will form minimum boiling azeotrope, whereas negative deviation showing solutions will form maximum boiling azeotrope. That we'll try to discuss now in the next slide. The simple examples can be remembered to understand the types. We'll take ethanol and acetone mixture for positive deviation, chloroform and acetone mixture for negative deviation. Any other examples can also be assumed to understand the types. So first we'll discuss here the examples mentioned. Ethanol and acetone. You think what is ethanol? So ethanol, it is C2H5OH, hydroxyl group, where the hydrogen is bonded to the second highest electronegative element, oxygen. As the OH bond in ethanol is having a permanent dipole moment, it is a polar molecule. If you take acetone, so acetone is CH3CO CH3. The oxygen present there again, so is electronegative. The bond between C and O is having polar nature. Again, the molecule is polar. But ethanol, due to the highest electronegative elements bonded to hydrogen, it form a special type of dipole-dipole interaction, hydrogen bonding. Whereas acetone, due to presence of only dipole nature, the interactions are dipole-dipole interaction. I'll repeat. Ethanol has special dipole-dipole interaction, that is hydrogen bonds between the molecules. Whereas acetone will have dipole-dipole interaction. Now, as we know, hydrogen bond strength is greater when compared to dipole-dipole interaction. Once we mix these two, the attractive forces will become weaker than the hydrogen bond strength. As a result, in the resultant solution, the new attractive forces are weaker than the solute-solute or solvent-solvent interaction. Hence, so this will form nearly a positive deviation showing solution. So think with nature of molecule, attractive force form to understand the type. Similarly, in negative deviation showing solution, we'll take chloroform and acetone. As we know, acetone, so CH3CO, CH3, a dipole molecule. Chloroform, it is CHCl3. So we are having halogens. Halogen is bonded to carbon, a polyhalogen compound of methane derivative, chloroform. If we consider both, it has a dipole-dipole interaction. So it is having, again, chlorine is more electronegative, but in acetone, oxygen is a second highest electronegative element among the known three highest. That is fluorine being highest electronegative, oxygen being the second. Next, it is nitrogen. Since attractive forces seen in acetone are stronger, chloroform it is weaker. But after mixing the two, so chloroform and acetone, the newly formed attractive forces will have a strong force of attraction between the two. The resultant solution will have solute-solvent interaction, so which is a stronger interaction than the solute-solute and solvent-solvent interaction. So hence, so this mixture will form a negative deviation showing solution. Ethanol in water can be taken as positive deviation showing solution. Another example, 95% of ethanol in water. 68% of nitric acid in water can be taken as example of negative deviation showing solution. A mixture of phenol aniline can be taken. So like this, many examples can be related to understand the types. So with this, we have concluded the concept of the types of solution based on the Raoult's law. It is ideal, non-ideal. Again, in the non-ideal, positive and negative. So you can have a comparative chart. So by introducing ideal solution points here, so the points will be same. The differentiation observation you try to relate when you are learning it. So in the previous slide, I have taken ideal and non-ideal. Here I have mentioned positive and negative. You can make a comparative of all the three together. So here instead of non-ideal, you divide this into two, positive and negative, and write the points accordingly for each particular understanding. So with this, we'll go for our next concept. So what we mentioned here, one of the point, azeotrope, that we'll try to understand. Azeotropic mixtures. What are azeotropes or what are azeotropic mixtures? So these are a mixture of solution. That is a constant boiling binary mixtures. Azeotropes, in simple terms, they are called as constant boiling binary mixtures. As we know, binary refers to two components having mixture. So azeotropes or constant boiling binary mixture. Now, which makes them to boil as a that is to boil at a constant temperature is a main understanding concept of azeotropes. Now, if we take any two liquids, they will never have the same boiling point. They will never have the same boiling point because the liquids are different. The number of atoms, the nature of atoms present in the association of the molecule to form a compound or a molecule is different. The attractive forces between the particles will never be same. As a result, they will not boil at a constant temperature. That means if we take any two liquids separately, their boiling points will never be same. But how in the mixture they are attaining a constant temperature? So in their boiling condition or the constant temperature required to boil is the important understanding. Now in a specific composition, if the two liquids are mixed or two components are mixed, so the attractive force formed between the solute and solvent, either as a weaker or a stronger attractive force in the solution, will make their escaping tendency into the vapor phase to attain this specific composition. So due to their same composition seen in vapor phase and in the solution phase or liquid phase, so they will boil at a constant temperature. Azeotropes will boil at constant temperature because their composition will remain same in vapor phase as well as in liquid phase, that is a solution phase. Due to that, their rate of evaporation is same and hence they will boil at the same temperature. If a solution shows minimum boiling, azeotrope to consider, or if a solution to classify under maximum boiling, azeotrope. So we'll recall again non-ideal solution and the attractive forces. The attractive forces between the solute and solvent is weaker, that is positive deviation showing solution. So they form minimum boiling azeotrope as a first type of azeotropic mixture. If the non-ideal solution showing negative deviation from ideal behavior, then they will form the second type of azeotropic mixture, that is maximum boiling azeotropes. These are the two main types of azeotropic mixtures. Minimum boiling azeotropes are formed by positive deviation showing solution. Maximum boiling azeotropes are formed by negative deviation showing solution. A simple example you can understand: 95% by volume of ethanol in water, that is 95 ml of ethanol if it is mixed with 5 ml of water in this composition, both in solution phase as well as in the vapor phase, ethanol and water composition is same. Hence, they boil at a constant temperature. Hence, they form a constant boiling binary mixture, that is azeotropic mixture. In the azeotropic type, a minimum boiling azeotrope. If we take another example, 68% of nitric acid in water by mass. 68 grams of nitric acid in 32 grams of water if you take as a 100% solution, where 68% is nitric acid, 32% water in this composition. So both the particular components will have same composition in its solution phase as well as in vapor phase. As a result, they boil at the same temperature and they form maximum boiling azeotrope. Here, minimum maximum refers to the boiling point related to their components. So simple concept. The constant boiling binary mixture due to having same composition in their solution phase as well as in the vapor phase. If the solution show positive deviation from Raoult's law, they form minimum boiling azeotrope. If the solution shows negative deviation from Raoult's law, then they form maximum boiling azeotropes. So these are the main concept of the solution types we are having to understand. The last and the important types of solution what we are having is our next concept and the most important concept in the unit. So based on that, we are going to have a numerical problem to determine the molar mass of the solute. It will be generally considered as a 3-mark numerical problem for a PU board examination. Now we'll try to understand what is that colligative property and how the property can be used to calculate the molecular mass of the solute present in the solution. Now, if we take a solution and if we measure the property, to call the respective property as a colligative property, the measurement of the property should not depend on the nature of the solute particle, but it should depend only on the number of solute particles. That is, any properties of the solution whose measurement depends only on the number of solute particles but not on the nature of solute particles are called as colligative properties. So it is only with respect to solute, not with solvent. Solvent nature is very important in understanding the colligative properties. So colligative property measurements will not depend on the nature of solute but do depend on their number, only on their number. So hence colligative properties are defined as those properties of the solution whose measurement will depend only on the number of solute particles but not on the nature of solute particles. So if we observe, there are 4 such colligative properties. It is relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation of boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure given as RLVP, elevation of boiling point which is given as delta TB, depression of freezing point given as delta TF, osmotic pressure of the solution represented by pi. We'll discuss them in detail and their required calculation to obtain molecular mass of the solute. Now, in understanding the first 3 colligative properties, we'll recall with addition of a non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent. As I have told, it does not depend on the nature of solute but only on the nature of solvent. But to classify or to understand the types, we'll assume a non-volatile solute. But the number of non-volatile solute present there is determining these properties. So how it is will prove with the equation. So the definition you can observe clearly. So number of solute particles irrespective of the nature relative to the total number of particles present in the solution. The total number of particles, there is solute and solvent together. Simple to remember, you consider the properties depends only on number of solute particles but not on their nature. Okay, we'll start with the first colligative property, relative lowering of vapor pressure. To understand this, so you assume we are adding a non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent. So P naught will take it as the vapor pressure of the volatile solvent in its pure form. P will consider as vapor pressure of solution after adding a non-volatile solute to it. Now before addition of non-volatile solute, the solvent vapor pressure will be more, and after addition of non-volatile solute to it, the vapor pressure of the solution decreases. Hence, this decrease will relate it as a lowering of vapor pressure. That is P naught, vapor pressure of the pure solvent, P, vapor pressure of the solution. As vapor pressure of solution is always less due to addition of non-volatile solute, the difference of P naught and P is taken as lowering of vapor pressure. You can recall, so what we discussed in the earlier slides with the diagram. So the liquid solution of the solid solute in liquid solvent. The same concept. A lowering of vapor pressure is the difference in vapor pressure of the pure liquid with vapor pressure of the solution, P naught minus P. If you relate this lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of the same liquid in pure form, then the ratio is actually called as a colligative property, relative lowering of vapor pressure. That is, lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of the liquid in its pure form is called as relative lowering of vapor pressure. So this particular ratio is not depending on the nature of solute, but depends on the number of solute particles. Whereas if you observe here P naught minus P, lowering of vapor pressure, it depends on the nature of solute. I'll repeat, don't get confused. Lowering of vapor pressure is not a colligative property. But if it is related to the vapor pressure of the liquid in pure form, relative lowering of vapor pressure, then it is a colligative property. So it's a very important competitive exam question. So lowering of vapor pressure is not a colligative property. It depends on the nature of solute. Whereas relative lowering of vapor pressure is a colligative property which does not depend on the nature of solute. Now, to understand this as a colligative property, to prove that it depends only on number of solute particle but not on the nature. So we are having Raoult's law again here, but it is Raoult's law for RLVP, stands for relative lowering of vapor pressure. Again, the law explains the same concept of the pressure and the solubility with respect to mole fraction. Now, relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of solute present in the solution. Raoult's law for RLVP states that relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute present in the solution. I will expand this equation term and will rearrange to get how molecular mass of solute is calculated. If we observe in our next slide. So we'll take the definition of mole fraction of solute. So P naught minus P by P naught is equal to mole fraction of solute. So recall, P naught is vapor pressure of the pure solvent. P is the vapor pressure of solution. Mole fraction of 2 refers to mole fraction of solute. Now let RLVP form as same. We'll expand the mole fraction of solute definition, as mole fraction of solute is defined as number of moles of solute particles divided by total number of moles of particle, that is solute and solvent. The mole fraction of solute is number of moles of solute divided by number of moles of solvent and number of moles of solute. Now, after getting the definition equation here, we'll assume a condition. We'll take, if the solution is very dilute, the number of solute particle is negligible when compared to number of solvent. So in the solution, by mixing the two, we'll assume number of moles of solute is negligible or very less for a very dilute solution. In the denominator, we'll approximate N1 plus N2 value is equal to N1. So this is by taking the condition for very dilute solution. N1 plus N2 value is approximately equal to N1. So this is to get the molar mass of solute rearrangement form. This condition is taken here. Now we'll take the definition of number of moles. As we know, number of moles is defined as mass divided by molar mass. So N2, if we take number of moles of solute, that is mass of solute divided by molar mass of solute. W2 is mass of solute, M2 is molar mass of solute. Whole divided by N1 definition, it is number of moles of solvent is defined as mass of solvent divided by molar mass of solvent, that is W1 divided by M1. We'll recall quickly. N2 is W2 by M2, N1 is W1 by M1, where W is mass, M is molar mass, 2 for solute, 1 for solvent. W2 is mass of solute, M2 is molar mass of solute, W1 is mass of solvent, M1 is molar mass of solvent. Now we'll rearrange this equation to get M2. That is molar mass of solute is equal to, so this will come towards right hand side, so it is P naught divided by P naught minus P into W2 M1 divided by W1 is the final equation for to calculate the molar mass of solute by using RLBP. Now this equation shows that, so RLBP is a colligative property. Its measurement depends only on number of moles of solute particles, but not on the nature of solute particles. If it is asked to show that RLBP as a colligative property, so we can take the Raoult's law equation, which explains RLBP is directly proportional to mole fraction of solute, which in turn explains it depends directly on number of moles of solute particles. So here the expansion of each term here is explained. So do remember very clearly in solving the numericals, it is very much important to understand these values from the question. So P naught is vapor pressure of pure solvent, P is vapor pressure of solution, W2 is mass of solute, W1 is mass of solvent, M2 is molar mass of solute, M1 is molar mass of solvent. So with this, we completed the first colligative property. So in our next class, we'll discuss with the remaining colligative properties, that is elevation of boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. Thank you.